And we gotta go. All right. Hello, ladies and lady friends. Welcome. It's so nice to see you. Uh, this is the Game Changers, a collaboration between Women in Tech Sweden and Kindred. I'm Elin Eriksson. I function as the creative director and also board chair for Women in Tech Sweden. And next to me is Eleanor Chambers.
Yep.
You are the internal communications manager at Kindred.
I am indeed, and I'm the host of this evening as well. So welcome, great to be here and great to see you all.
So let me tell you real quick about the love story between Women in Tech Sweden and Kindred. I was checking our archives to make sure that I got things right, and I know that we started working together with Kindred in 2016. Creating the big event for 2017. It was not as big then as it is now, so make sure that you are a member so that you can be part of the ticket raffle for a conference that is coming on April 23rd of 2025. So this is a more exclusive event. And we're here to talk about game changers, and we have a nice setup for this evening. So tell us a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, a warm welcome to everyone. So great to be here and so great to be working again with Women in Tech in Stockholm. At Kindred, we're really committed to fostering innovation and inclusivity. So events like this are really key to creating spaces where these values can thrive. And tonight, we're here to explore what it means to be a leader in industries where women are traditionally underrepresented, such as tech and gambling. We'll discuss building strong connections, breaking down biases, and embracing a more non-conformist path, perhaps, making bold moves that shape not just our careers, but also the industries that we work in. So I urge you all to think of tonight, whether you're here in the office or online watching from home, as an opportunity to really bet on yourself. Whether it's a new idea, a fresh perspective, or a meaningful connection, this event is your chance to invest in your own growth and walk away with something truly valuable.
Yeah. And we know that we have a lot of people online, and you're not just like looking at it, you're also a participant. So there's a live chat, and we know that we have people from Women in Tech, such as Linda Tierney. Those of you who are on site can see her over there. She's got the Women in Tech t-shirt and cap, I think. She's going to be in the chat, and later for the workshop, you will also meet Stephanie Darvill, also in the chat. You will see her on stage as well. I would also like to give a shout out to Amalia Berglöf, another Women in Tech lady. She's right over there behind the pillar, so say hi. So for those of you who know her, she's a true inspiration. So what we do at Women in Tech is that we want to make sure that we get more women into the industry and make sure that those of us already in it, that we thrive, that we develop, and that we stay. And it makes it meaningful to see how many of you are here tonight. So thank you for showing up. We do this by promoting role models. You will see role models tonight. We do this by making sure that you have a great network, and you will be using your network, and you will be expanding your network tonight. And we want you to be inspired. And
Absolutely.
I know that that is something that will be served tonight. So get ready for a jackpot, because we're about to start, aren't we?
We are about to start. So with no further ado, we're going to hand over to our first speaker of the night. She's here to show us that it's not as hard as we may think to create authentic connections and have fun whilst doing it. So please warmly welcome to the stage our first speaker and professional wingwoman, Shaena Harrison.
Shaena. I'm not just saying my name because I like the sound of it. For those of you in Sweden who speak Swedish, you may know that Shaena is how we say hello. And for those of you who don't speak Swedish, now you know how to say hello in Sweden, right? So, Tommy, who's been here before? Have you ever walked into a room full of people, seen someone standing alone, looking lost? Maybe their name tag is peeling off? Networking is not, it doesn't have a good rap, right? It's very cringy, it's very awkward, but it really doesn't have to be that way. So whether you're one of those outgoing schmoozers who lives to work the room like a champ, or an introverted wallflower who'd rather tightrope walk over a volcano than go up and make small talk to someone, I'm here to tell you that we can all benefit from rethinking networking, because there's a different kind of networking out there that everyone can be a part of. And the best part is you don't need to be an extrovert to do it. So, why is networking so hard? How many events do you all go to often? Is there quite a huge hand of people that, like, do you guys go to a lot of networking events, right? Do they feel very transactional for the most part? Usually you go to an event, they go, all right, everybody, go network. And then you go, okay, what am I supposed to do? Right? It's very transactional. It doesn't really necessarily have like facilitation, or we have like goals of what we're trying to do. Maybe you're in sales, maybe you have KPIs and meetings you need to book. Maybe you're looking for a job. You know, there's nothing wrong with networking. It's just we're doing it wrong, right? And it's not our fault. Society trained us this way. So I have a commercial background, and my early mistake was going to events and having a stack of business cards and going and be like, oh, here's my business card, here's my business card. But I had the challenge, and I think, like, as we see a lot of people now, can we connect on LinkedIn? It's the same thing. We're not necessarily getting to know the person. We're just looking for the connections. We need to build the relationships. And then, who's had the dreaded pitch slap? You connect with someone and the first message is, oh, hey, great meeting you. By the way, I have this product. Can I sell it to you? Or, hey, by the way, I need a job. Like, there's no context. There's no relationship building, right? I think this is where we need to sort of uplift ourselves and rethink the game of networking and building relationships. And here's the shift, right? It doesn't have to be transactional, right? It's all about trust-driven networking. And basically, it's a simple thing. It's like, how can I help you? What can I offer you? How can I help lift you? So there's 3 key principles to this, and it's quite easy, right? So number 1 is to be present. Listen with intention. Number 2 is to be curious and ask thoughtful questions. And again, so, you know, there's really good questions out there that don't have to be yes or no. Open-ended questions are great, and I'll be teaching you a few of them later. And also, be generous, right? Offer value without any strings attached. So, I mean, again, as I said, networking, it always has this sort of cringe factor. And I think we have the ability to really sort of change it in this room and at home. But when you go to an event, right, one of my biggest things that I tell people is like, use these kind of questions. Like, so what brings you here today? What's been the best session? What are you looking to get from today? Like, these are great questions that you can ask when you go somewhere. And when you're online, you can ask people like, so what's the best part of your week? What's something that you found interesting online, right? There's so many different ways of doing it instead of being like, so what do you do for a living? Right? I think that's probably the question that is the typical one when you go networking. And again, focus on them, not your reply. Some of the best networkers I know are the ones that just keep asking questions, right? And they keep asking about you and what do you do and what can you bring to the table. If you'll notice when you're networking with me tonight, I'll probably be doing that a lot to you. It's not about me, and it never will be. You might ask me a question in return, and I'll probably spin it back to you because I'm super interested in the person I'm speaking to. And that's the best thing you can do when it comes to networking. And when it comes to following up, personalization's key. So we're all going to connect tonight, I'm sure. And though for those of you at home, when you send a message afterwards, be like, it was great meeting you at the event with Women in Tech and Kindred. Like, give the context, right? Say, what was great about that? We had a great conversation about cats, the pitch slap. Oh my God. Did you get a pitch slap too, right? Think about that and how you can sort of bring that into your conversation afterwards. So, what exactly is a wing person, right? I'm sure you guys who haven't heard it going like, oh, does she help people find love? No, I don't. Sorry. But to give you a bit of context, so a couple years ago, about 8 years ago, I went to an event at King, you know, the makers of Candy Crush. Woo! And I went to an event exactly like this, but I came alone. And I met a woman who was also alone. And I went up to her and I just started chatting and being like, oh, so what brings you here? And da-da-da-da, what's your name? She's like, oh, I'm Annika. And I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Shaena. I'm like, what would you like to do? Like, why are you here? She's like, oh, I'd really love to meet one of the founders of King. Now, he happened to be at the event. So I took us over and I introduced the two of them. Now, I didn't know him and I didn't know her, but neither of them knew that I didn't know each other. And all of a sudden, they were chatting like they were old friends. Fast forward 8 years. So I've lost my job 4 times in 3 years. So for anyone who's ever been laid off, I'm with you. Go on that recalibration journey. Figure out what you want to do with life. There is something on the other side. So I got this phone call. It was November 2022, and Annika phones me. She says, "Hey, Shaena, I've just sold my company. I'm starting a new one. I'm going to this event. I was wondering, can you do that thing you did for me 8 years ago? Can you be my professional wing woman?" And I was like, what the heck is a professional wing woman? The second thing that happened was ChatGPT had come to the mass market. So me going, what is a professional wing woman? And it goes, da-da-da-da-da. You like to help people find love. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. No love, but business love. Yes. And from my background in event marketing and with the commercial sales side, I realized there's a gap in the market. So again, you go to an event. Imagine having that person by your side that you can basically say, oh, have you met this person? They do this and this. By the way, they're looking for a job, but I know you're hiring. Can I get you guys connected? Or, hey, you're doing this really cool thing, but you're trying to buy this. Like, did you guys know that you guys can help each other? It totally shifts the perspective and the energy of like going to an event together. So I commend and I say, if you don't have the budget to hire a wing person, find someone that can go with you, right? Because in all honesty, in a world filled with AI generated content on Facebook, LinkedIn, and everything else, those personalized introductions, they're the magic touch. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you so much, Shaena. I will be taking a lot of that with me as someone who's self-professed terrified of networking. I'm usually that person sat in the corner by myself, hoping that someone will come up and save me and introduce me to some people. So really appreciated that. Next up, we move into the fascinating world of the psychology behind gambling. So next up is Dr. Maris Catania. Well done. It was great. Is that all right? And then I'll jump back up.
Hi, welcome. So, first of all, thank you for inviting me. Malta, such beautiful weather. It's lovely to be in Stockholm. I'm literally freezing every time I. Oh, it's too much. But it's okay. Charlotta asked, and I have to say yes when Charlotta asks me. So, today, I thought I'll speak about the only thing I know, which is responsible gambling. Every time I say I work in this field, I rarely get people telling me, "Oh, that must be so interesting." Usually I get these type of faces. Why? Why, like, is it really a job? It's fake, isn't it? Or just, yeah, but if you do RG, it's just going to be bad for the company. But I always say, if you do responsible gambling, so if you try to help people not to gamble in a harmful way, reactively, when it's too late, of course it's bad for the company. So if, let's say, you have someone who gambled half of their life savings and then you go and say, huh, maybe you should stop. Yes, they will be annoyed, they will be pissed off, and they won't really stop. They might stop with you, but not with others. But if you're proactive about it, if you try to see the first signs of potential problems and help them, then it might be much better. And I've been working with Kindred nowadays. I'm a consultant, but I was with Kindred for at least 13 years full time. And we looked into this as a psychologist. How can we identify and see addiction in a different way, in a more proactive way? And I like to use the behavioral spectrum, so the behavioral continuum. And as an example, I use myself because, yeah, I am not the most stable person. And I always use my problem behavior, which is books. I'm a nerd. I am like 4 books away. Oh, really bad. I'm 4 books away from being a hoarder. That's how bad it is. And every behavior we have starts off with social. So this is where I can blame my father. So my father introduced me to the beautiful world of books. We started going into like our little get-togethers. We used to go for buying a book, and then he will drink his beer, I drink my tea. Slowly, because obviously the older you get more financially stable, I became a regular book buyer. Now, at one point in life, and I'm going to use this example because first of all, I'm self-employed now, so I should be a bit easier, and everyone had one of these. I had a really bad boss. No, just me. Like the type of manager that you really need to punch, but you cannot. That type of manager. And I couldn't punch him. I really tried not to. And at that point, I remember when I used to have meetings with him, I used to leave his office, I would sit down, and I would go on awesomebooks.com. I didn't even realize I was doing this. And I was browsing and browsing, and every time I would purchase books. It was my way of not killing him. I couldn't take it. And I think slowly, if we think about it, when you have a bad manager, a bad day, you do something to feel better. This is normal. And that is kind of a problem behavior. It becomes a real bad thing if you let it develop into a disorder. And you might say, what's wrong with having a book buying disorder? If you go on Hoarders, there are some people. I love these shows, honestly. Strange Addictions and Hoarders are my thing. But there are people where buying a lot of books and actually escaping through that can be a difficult thing. And this is something that we hear quite a bit. And when we look into gambling, it's the similar thing. But we have invested, and Kindred included, in so much research around the detection and so much research around the markers of harm. But have we really understood why people gamble? Why are people actually enjoying it? I mean, I enjoy buying books. I love it. For me, my brain is constantly on overdrive. Like, you have no idea how many things are going on nonstop. When I read, it just pauses. It's my form of escapism. It's my form of calming the crazy world. So can we see this with gambling? And Kindred had kindly shared their data with Dr. Jonathan Park and other researchers, where we looked into a study, why do people enjoy gambling? It only took us 8 years to publish this study, because every time we tried to get it peer-reviewed, someone would tell us, no, you need to do something else, because it was something quite odd for someone in the industry to do. And we found 5 psychological needs that are associated with gambling. We saw mastery, which is developing skills, intellectual stimulation, detachment, relaxation, self-affirmation, which is more enhancing your self-esteem and self-image, risk and excitement, and affiliation. So we saw all these things coming from gambling. And when we looked into the product correlation, we also saw that some products are more prone to give this than others. Obviously, for example, poker, it's more mastery. Whereas slots, you will have more detachment, more escapism. But if we had to take it another step further, what if we had to look into gender? And this, honestly, if I was blonde, this would be me and my husband most of the time. And here it will relate as well. And I love how it's mostly women here. You know when you have a bad day and you go and you just want to talk about it, right? You just need to talk about it. You can hear the frustration because I'm recollecting my husband. And I go and I just let it out and he comes with a solution. Every time. I just need escapism. I just need to vent. But for some reason, he needs to tell me what I should have done. And we see this as well. If we take just one psychological need, we see even there are gender differences. For example, with men, escapism, we see that they might prefer action films. They might prefer more themes of control, of heroism. Whereas with women, it's different. We seek escapism more as an emotional connection, more as a way of escaping a reality. As I mentioned, I love reading mostly because for me, at that point in time when I'm reading, everything else doesn't exist. I can't even watch a film for some reason. Like if I watch a film, I need to do something else. But if I'm reading, I'm focused on that. If you talk to me when I'm reading, then there is chance for murder. Just saying. So if we had to look into RG, perhaps in a different way, and usually I don't talk about RG in this way, but I thought, let me try and find something which might be provoking your thoughts a bit more today. If we had to look into RG, instead of trying to see the markers of harm, but instead trying to see a lack of pleasure. Because everyone starts off playing socially, regularly. We enjoy it. It could be with gaming, it could be with shopping. And what if we had to look into this again in a different way? So, for example, as I mentioned, I'm a regular reader. I read a lot. Just a few months ago, one of my best friends passed away. And I just lost 2 days of my life just reading. I could do it because my husband could still take care of the kids and he knew how I was, that I need my own time. But what if it was gambling? What if it was more harmful than us? So what if we had to take a different approach? For example, if I am studying or if I'm working too much, probably I will need to read some rom-com, some romantic comedies. If I am doing a mundane job or just trying to get out from talking to other parents in social kids events, I would like to have more psychology books. So what if we had to take into consideration how to keep it fun? If I have someone who's a female, for example, a female gambler, who's playing casino because it's a form of escapism, because she enjoys it, it's nice, after a full day of work, we just go and just gamble a bit, perhaps, and it's fine, it's under responsibility. But what if once we see that escapism starts getting more harmful? And how can we get the person to actually go back to enjoying it, rather than always thinking that responsible gambling is a negative thing? Because most of the time when we talk about RG, even just the limits option, like, oh, you have a limit, then you have a problem. Actually, no. If people set up limits up front, it actually means that they're under control. So perhaps we should take another approach to responsible gambling. And just because I love memes, I will finish my slides with a meme, which is technically me almost every Friday. So yeah, thanks. That's it from my end.
Maris, thank you so much. Particularly enjoyed your last meme, but great to talk us through responsible gambling as well. I'm going to welcome Charlotta up to the stage as well for a fireside chat with the two of you. Brilliant. Great to have you both up here with me today. First off, can I ask you to both introduce yourselves for the benefit of the audience here?
Well, if Charlotta says I have to go first, I have to go first. So hi, my name is Maris. I'm a chartered psychologist focused on behavioral addiction and cyber psychology.
Hi, my name is Charlotta, and I'm the Director of Product for the Legal Compliance and Regulatory Products here at Kindred.
Fantastic. So to kick us off, both of you have carved out really successful careers in an industry that's often seen as controversial, gambling. How did you first navigate entering the gambling industry, and were there any moments where you felt like you were challenging expectations?
I mean, for me, I didn't really... Getting out of uni, the first thing I thought about wasn't, I'm going to start a career in gambling.
Reasonable.
I think that's quite common, or so it's just kind of something that happened. I started out at a gambling company, and then I believe, I liked it, so I kind of continued. I like the idea of offering a nice entertainment product to customers.
Fantastic.
That's kind of how I got into it.
And for you, Maris, was that the same, or?
No, mine is much dodgier. So I was a graduate of psychology. I started my master's immediately after, for some reason. And I was playing poker in a garage. And I'm so sorry, I'm too honest. And a friend of mine said, oh, you know poker, you should join Unibet. And that's how I joined the gambling industry. I thought I'd just spend 2 years, 15 years later.
Brilliant. So a love of poker played
Yes.
at home in the garage
Yes.
brought you here. Fantastic. So our talk is around the archetype of the good girl and how that might play out in a controversial industry. So the concept of the good girl often comes with societal expectations of compliance or perfectionism, making sure we're doing the right thing. I know this will ring true to many, if not all, of the women here with us today. How and have you seen this play out in your careers, particularly while working in gambling?
I mean, one of the key things from me is that I always double check everything before I send it out. I do not believe my peers of another gender do that as often as I do. But yeah, I mean, definitely. There's also, being in an industry full of men, you kind of sometimes need to stop yourself from becoming too manly. You start kind of adopting a more male attributes to kind of fit in, but also you don't want to go too extreme and then play off being very feminine just because you're creating some sort of weight off there. But it's very difficult, but fun.
About finding the balance then.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Trying not to go too much, leaning
Too
too much
far.
into either kind of identity. Do what feels authentic.
Yeah, I think with me, the biggest, before I was a bit oblivious to it. So I was so focused on doing responsible gambling. I didn't care about like if it's good or not. I just wanted to do it. But I did realize when I became a mother, there was a difference. People viewed me in a different way for some reason. Like I remember, like 3 months after I had my first son, I just went to give a speech about RG, and I left my son with like his dad. And someone came up to me and said, "How dare you be here?" Like, what? You know, like I need a break as well. Like I'm not just a vessel to create humans. Um, and I think then when I realized, and even at one point I was almost scared to mention I have kids.
I know.
Like I remember we together as well. Like we were in a team together, me and Charlotta, and it was more males. And I think at one point it's like it's difficult to say like, oh, I miss my kids, because it was always seen like, oh, you know, it's almost a weakness. And I still can now. I can say like I miss my kids. I don't say I miss my husband because he's annoying, but I still say I miss my kids. But I think at one point it felt like almost not humiliating, but like a bit.
A weakness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't be a mother in the workplace. It's not the same thing.
I mean, I still get comments around, oh, okay, you're here, but who's with the kids? Well, their father.
Or they're alone.
Yeah, I mean, soon.
And these are, I guess, are comments you're not hearing directed at male peers?
I've
as
never heard
frequently?
that, no.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've gotten as well is a lot of times, oh, but your handwriting is so much better than mine. Can't you take notes in the meeting?
Ooh.
That's like, okay.
Yeah. There's that whole thing around invisible labour, isn't there? For example, there's research to show that women are more likely to either be expected to or to be asked to do things like clear up the coffee cups at the end of a meeting, or tidy the chairs away, and I guess that really kind of plays into the idea around women picking up those less noticed and certainly less appreciated tasks as well, if we're talking about careers and that sort of advancement. So on this kind of topic of bias in action that you might see, especially in our industry, can you share any further examples? I think you've done a good job with this already, but where you've faced any actual pushback, potentially, as female leaders, and how you overcome it, or what advice you'd give to other women facing similar things.
I'm thinking of a really bad example. I try not to read the questions before, so it gets better. So I started RG in 2009, different era for the online industry. And I started with this concept of markers of harm, and I was really excited. And it was something that no one else was doing at the time, so I wanted to get more and more people involved. And I was at this conference, which was about responsible gambling, and I saw a regulator there, two guys, obviously, because there were no female regulators at the time. And I went, and I was like, oh, I have this concept, and I'm really excited. And one of them said, oh, this is Unibet's way to get us involved. They get cute girls. And I was there and I'm thinking, should I be offended? I'm not sure if I should be offended, but at the same time, like, what should I do? This is, and I remember when I told my manager at the time, he got so annoyed, and I almost accepted the fact that that was said to me, which was really weird. Like, I almost accepted the fact that someone can talk to me like that. And another incident. So I'm Maltese, so there's a lot of these type of men. And one CEO of another company said, I like you, you think like a man. And I'm always thinking to myself, short term, but you know, it's always like these, and not always do I have the energy to react almost because I'm kind of used to it now.
I think a lot of times I don't even know what to say. And what you're saying you're used to it. Yes, that's the issue sometimes because I don't react anymore. It's like, oh, okay, then.
I can write you a psychological paper to slap someone if you want.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Brilliant. It's sadly something that I think many of us can relate to in the workplace. But what advice do you have to any women here who want to step into leadership roles themselves, where they're underrepresented and probably are also being judged and valued by a more male-dominant industry or colleagues themselves?
Good question. I think it's very important to network and to kind of build relationships. One of the key things, or one of the things I like doing, is staying behind in meetings and actually being able to catch up with everyone after the meeting, do a bit of a kind of 2-second post-mortem. Okay, did we discuss? How do we go forward? How did you react with this? And I believe those kind of short sessions helps create relationships that helps facilitate your further career.
As corny as it sounds, but I would just say, really just be you. And I know it sounds corny, but I'll give an example. I was always a bit like into rock music, a bit into gothic, like black dresses and stuff. And I remember at one point we used to have visitors at the Kindred office, and I felt uncomfortable being myself. So I had this one blue top, which then became pathetic because every time like I would wear this blue top. But I had this blue top and a blazer, and I remember wearing heels. And when I just let that go and just was myself, it was so much better. And always acknowledge your feelings, which is really important. Like if you feel that someone is being, you told me I can swear, right? If someone is being an asshole, it's okay to acknowledge that. You know, we don't need to always internalize things. I think there were situations where someone would say something to me and I would say, oh, maybe they're right because I speak softly. Or maybe they're right because, yeah, I'm always in black. And instead, no, just acknowledge it. And just realize that most of the time you're not the problem. It's someone else who has issues with it.
That's really powerful, Maris. Thank you for sharing. And I'm definitely going to use your tip at my next meeting and try and do a bit of extra friendly networking at the end and try and build those connections. Really good to hear. So on that kind of train of thought with looking at leadership, career building, have you had mentors or role models who've supported you in navigating your career paths? And if not, how did you find the confidence to seek leadership and step into those sorts of roles?
I didn't have mentors, to be fair. I have people I admire. And we discussed this before, like I like what Charlotta mentioned to me, like soundboards. So even, for example, the first year I went as a consultant, it was really difficult for me to even think in a certain way. And I used to have these meetings with some friends of mine, which we worked together, but they would not really be about work. So just, you know, like silly things to say or memes or stuff like that. I think any part of connection can actually help as long as what you take from it. Yeah, and as an advice, yeah, just do it. What's the worst thing that can happen? That's what I used to say every day. I get reported to the ex-CEO, what's the worst thing that can happen? But it's, yeah, at least I can look back and say, yeah, I did that, I wasn't too scared.
I think trust your knowledge as well. A lot of
Yes.
times we undermine ourselves and we think, oh, maybe I'm not ready for that yet. Yeah, you are. I think that's really key. And as we discussed earlier, sounding boards are really, really key because sometimes you just need to hear your thoughts out loud. Because then you start realizing what way you're actually leaning. Are you interested in applying for that role or going there? When you start talking about it, you realize, yeah, I am. I should be going there. Unfortunately, though, I have to say that a lot of those sounding boards have been men.
Even with me, actually, it's true. I don't think I've had, it's usually men that I speak to. Yeah, maybe we can try to find some new ones today.
Well, the next networking
Yes.
workshop should help with that at least. How have you both reconciled working in an industry that has ethical or societal controversies? At least the kind of outside view in is often that way. How do you navigate that while staying true to your values and kind of championing what you believe in? You've both talked a lot about remaining authentic. So how has that looked for you?
Well, I work in RG. So for me, it was always thinking about, gambling will always be there, like a lot of the other behaviors. So I'm going to try to do stuff that can actually minimize the harm. Like, for example, I still remember one of my relatives being a problem gambler, and I do sometimes think, like, what if there was this proactive approach? What if there was that thing that could have helped? Maybe the damage wouldn't have been that much. So from my end, I know that I can sleep at night because I'm doing my best if I sleep. But but at least, I'm always trying to do something else to make it better. I'm very picky with who I work and that sort of thing.
I think for me, it's about creating. I'm passionate about creating a fun product, and I mean I'm very much in line with Maris. I want people to be able to restrict themselves to enjoy the entertainment, and it is entertainment. I play slots myself. I'm not into poker because I really don't have a poker face, but I mean I enjoy it. But I know myself that I have a tendency to have a bit of an addicted behavior. But since I already know that, I limit myself a lot, and I try to play safe. And I'm thinking, offering this product, we have to be aware and we have to make sure that it's easy to limit yourself. But as you said, the product will be there.
Yeah.
People will access. And if you are on the spectrum where you already have an issue, a lot of times there's not much we can do.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Super, super interesting to hear your perspectives there. So just to round this off, I'd love to hear from you. What steps do you think that companies and organizations can take to create more inclusive and supportive environments for women?
I would say like zero tolerance to kind of bad behavior, comments of certain kind that we discussed already. People actually, and especially men also, standing up for women, saying like, okay, no, that was not okay, him saying that, or you shouldn't say that, or being inclusive after a meeting as well, not just directly going into sports or something that not everyone might be interested in, because you need to think about being inclusive. It won't always come naturally.
Yeah, I think it's to echo what Charlotta said. My longest time with an employer was Kindred for 13 years, and I never really felt that. Even though once we went to watch a football match, for example, I don't like football. Not because I'm a girl, it's just because, some even guys don't like football. But I remember my boss, who knew I didn't like football, he was joking around with me and everything. So it was still kind of inclusive. And when there were situations where we would be like networking events, which is more male dominated, my colleagues checked up on me. And I think that was really nice, just to take that extra step. And there should be no difference if I'm male or female or anything. It's the same treatment.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? That inclusive practices and thinking about inclusivity straight up and not as an afterthought really help everyone, not just women, but everyone in the workplace. And definitely something we can all strive to think about and do more of ourselves. Thank you so much, Charlotta, Maris. This has been really, really interesting, and appreciate you chatting to me about all this today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a real treat coming up now. We have two professional wing women joining us on stage to lead us through their networking workshop. This is going to be an interactive session, both for everyone in the audience and for everyone watching online. So don't go anywhere just yet. You've got the chat function set up and you're going to need to use it. So over to you, Shaena and Stephanie.
All right, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody, and welcome everyone online as well.
Yeah, exactly. So if you haven't yet met Steph, I'm going to be her wing woman, and we're going to give you a live demonstration of what you guys are going to be doing, okay? So, Steph, originally from London, now living in Malmo, over here for this tonight, is, if you haven't seen her yet, she's been the moderator for Women in Tech, Tech Barbecue. I mean, you're kind of everywhere lately.
People might get sick of me soon.
And if you have been to Women in Tech this year, we obviously get to do this again, so this is really exciting. So thank you so much for Kindred and Women in Tech for making this happen.
And I mean, you heard from Shaena earlier on, and she is an amazing speaker. I'm always fascinated by how well she can memorize everything and speak so eloquently. She's originally from Winnipeg, Canada, has done so many different careers that you can ask her during the networking. But the red thread throughout all of it is what really brings her the most energy is connecting people. And it will probably be impossible to have a conversation with her without her saying, "You should speak to this person, let me connect you." So she is an excellent connector.
Good. So the idea of being a wing person, again, is about cross-facilitated introductions. And I'm going to show you a live demonstration now. We're going to do it for each other. So Steph, how can I support you tonight? What would you like to get out of this evening? What do you want people to know?
Well, 2024 has been a busy year for me, moderating and event hosting, but I found that I actually really, really enjoy it. So I would love to have, I have some gigs booked for 2025, but I want to get some more in, especially if it's working with inspiring women and people in general who are all in the audience today.
Now imagine we just had that conversation offline, like you didn't hear this happening, right? And be like, okay, so everybody, this is Steph. She's an incredible moderator. If any of you work in another company other than Kindred or Women in Tech, she's looking for more gigs. I can promise you that when you hire her and when you pay her, she is wonderful. So if anyone wants to connect with her, I will facilitate those this evening. And that would be how I would do it for you.
And what would you like help with if I could be your wing woman?
Oh, Ryan Reynolds.
So some of you may not actually know, but Shaena has had this incredible campaign where she wanted to get to Ryan Reynolds. And this was actually whilst your, I hope it's okay, whilst your mother was struggling with the last stages of cancer, and one of her wishes was to get a message from Ryan Reynolds.
Well, actually not.
Okay.
I'm going to interrupt you there.
Okay.
No, so we were able to raise 20,000 Canadian dollars. She started the first ever Make-A-Wish in Canada. And we were able to raise 20,000 Canadian. The goal was 60. However, we got her on major news, but nobody watches the news. People do watch Ryan Reynolds.
And so Shaena, sadly your mother passed away earlier this year,
Yes.
But Shaena still has a mission that wants to reach Ryan Reynolds and speak to him. She has been posting all over different social media networks, but there's 7 degrees of separation for everyone.
6.
So there's going to be
2.
some 6 degrees of separation to Ryan Reynolds in this room tonight,
We'll
or
get there.
online. I'm checking the chat, so please reach out.
And just FYI, if anyone actually makes this successful, like you're all invited to the party when we meet him,
Checks out, right?
right? So it's incentivized for everybody.
And as It's a win-win. And as you see, it's a lot easier to big someone up and call them amazing. To be honest, as the panelists were just saying as well, being a female, if I were to come on stage and go, hi, I'm an amazing moderator, I'd come across like a complete idiot, and no one would really want to work with me because I'd seem very full of myself. And, you know, we are taught to be small and humble, which we shouldn't have to be. At the same time, it's a lot easier to advocate for someone else than it is yourself. So asking, hey, Shaena, could you intro me? Because I know she's always going to say much nicer things about me than I will about myself. And that's the concept that we're going to talk you through today.
Exactly. So welcome to becoming wing people. Right? All right. So we're going to do something that we've never done before. We have two different audiences. We have those of you here, and we have those of you at home.
And luckily, we have two of us on stage, which means Shaena's going to take care of the people in real life. I'm going to take care of people online. So I have the iPad where I'm watching all your comments coming in.
And yes, you're going to sit down and you're going to be chatting, but your mic's going to be off. So I'm going to be facilitating all of you here. So if it looks weird and we're not interacting, there's a reason behind
Everything's
that.
under control. If you see me sitting down, I'm not just talking to myself.
I'm not ignoring her. Right? She's doing a great job. So are we ready for this?
Yes.
Okay. Are we ready for this? Yes. Okay, fantastic. So we'll explain the rules. Basically, we're going to do a quick interactivity here, and this is just an icebreaker. You need to find something in common with another person that is not obvious. So it cannot be your nationality, your profession, your industry. It could be a hobby or an interest or a passion. And walk around to chat to as many people as you can. So I know there's chairs here, so we're going to get you to get up and move around. And
be creative with it. The whole point of this is we are so much more than our work title, our nationality, our industry that we work with. We're so much more than that. And once you make more personal connections, you're able to automatically make even better professional relationships. If it's a mutual dislike of something, the last workshop we did, someone connected because they both hated karaoke. And you're like, perfect. That's a great thing. You both have that in common.
We took them out going karaoke.
Yeah,
right?
and we changed their mind. But for those online, I would like you to write in the chat, introduce yourself, say a hobby or an interest that you have. It could be a mutual dislike, and I want to see if any people online can connect together. So I will be sitting down and following these comments. So please engage in the chat. I've seen a lot of you commenting and reacting on the live stream already, so I know you're ready for this challenge.
Exactly.
We have 7 minutes that we're going to time you on.
Exactly. Yeah. And if for those of you that are familiar with this activity, when we put our hands up, if you see it, put your hands up as well. It means silence in the room, so we don't have to yell at everybody. To be like, come back, because it's going to get really interesting. You're going to have a lot of fun conversations.
And once you find something in common, move on to someone else. Try and speak to a lot of people in 7 minutes, okay? Are you ready? Ready, set, go! So hello, everybody online. I will be following your comments and seeing them coming in. We have Michele, who used to play American football.
I'm not going to push
Daniela enjoys traveling and the idea of working next, circular economy and tech. Antonella hates politicians. We have something in common, Antonella. Look at that.
Something nice.
Oh, Kata is a boat captain, and she has a cat that sometimes she thinks hates me more than she loves me. I think that's cats, because cats are just, I can't swear on this, but they live their own lives. I am Jay-Z. We've got Jay-Z on the stream. I love this. You're coming in so many. I can also introduce that to myself as well. So I am Steph. I'm actually a black belt in Taekwondo, and I competed in it for 11 years. Is there anybody else that did martial arts here? Modesty, living in Malmö. Please connect with me. We can go for a coffee. Someone hates worms. You'd get on very well with my mom. She's petrified of them. Ooh, someone loves interior design and finding secondhand bargains. That is Anna. There's so many comments are coming in that this is so much fun. Matilda, you must be Swedish because you say you love salty salt licorice. And for anyone that isn't based in Sweden, that is such a Swedish thing that if you say licorice to Swedes, the first thing they'll ask is sweet or salty. And before moving to Sweden, I actually didn't even know that salty licorice was a thing. Okay, Dahlia, you love reading, dancing, and going to the opera. Ooh, Alla loves belly dancing and traveling. Ooh, Antonia is a former recording artist. Maybe you should share your URL so we can check it out. Congratulations, Samani, for going through a career change. Who is new to tech. Welcome, welcome. You're in good company. Shada, you're also going through a professional change. This is the most amazing thing, to be able to connect with each other. And everyone is reacting to these comments. There are so many coming in, Shaena. Yeah. I mean, I'm struggling to keep up reading them. Oh, wow. I know. Yes. Yes, Anna and Gazy, you've already got something in together. Sorry, Gazy, Jay-Z. You can also reply to these comments, actually, so people can respond. Isabel, you have 4 cats. We have another person that has a cat. So actually, there you've got something in common. And Isabel, you have a passion for climbing. I think I saw someone else. Christine, me and you have made our connection. You got your half red belt at karate. So both of us are in martial arts. Sylvia speaks 6 languages. That is, I think a polyglot is 4 or more. Ooh, Jay-Z has a leopard gecko as a pet. I like this. I'm like scrolling back because there's so many coming in. Oh, Margaret is currently writing an autobiography with her dad. I know. Is the biography about your dad or yourself? That's what I'm curious about. Ida also wishes she knew Ryan Reynolds. Here they're coming in. I love people commenting to each other. Ellie is obsessed with watching The Vampire Diaries right now. Ooh, okay, where you have your hobby of indoor climbing, and Isabel also has found a new passion for climbing, so therefore you've already found your mutual connection. You see how fun it is when everyone connects on. Suddenly you become much more of a human. You become very personal and saying, I love climbing as well. Oh, yes, you did this. And you take down the kind of facade that we all put on when we go to events, which is, hi, I'm Steph, and I work in events, and I work as a moderator. Even my voice changes as well as my body language. But if you start asking me about sport or hiking or climbing, I also really like climbing, then suddenly you become a lot more personable. It's easier. You can become quite friendly with a person as well. And therefore, when you need help with anything, if you have a new event or a new project that you want to work together with someone, it becomes so much easier to break that mold. Variana, you love to learn something new. This is amazing. We have 2 people have already decided to make friends to play Palia together. Yes. We have 2 blockchain students as well. Where is everybody based? Let me know in there as well. I love Freights, who loves golden retrievers. Who doesn't? I think I'd judge someone more if I met someone that said they hated golden retrievers. We have a lot of gamers. Do we have many gamers? I imagine, naturally, being the Kindred event, if there are many gamers here, and what is your favorite game? Maybe. I'm not sure. I think we're okay. Jay-Z is based in Sweden, but running away and spending 10 weeks in Brazil. That sounds incredible, and I really need some sun and vitamin D. I have to say, thank you so much. Those of you, you can carry on chatting while we're talking as well. We're going to have another challenge in a minute, but I'm going to bring everyone back now. Hello, hello. And hello, we are now coming back. Put your hands up. You don't want us to start singing on stage. That won't be fun.
It's seriously, this technique, if you're ever working with a large group, is absolutely brilliant to get, to get everyone back, right? We don't have to yell at you. We just go, and then I love this technique. So.
I know a lot of you are like happy standing as well. We're going to chat for a couple of minutes and then we're going to go into another challenge. So if you want to just stay standing, you're welcome to. If you want to take a seat,
you do you.
You do you, whatever you're most comfortable with. So I have a couple. I mean, the chat was going crazy that I was having to like really try and get through all of them. But we had some people that had a mutual connection on indoor climbing. We had 2 people that have already decided to play Palia together. We had someone who is based in Sweden but running away to Brazil for 10 weeks, which I think we're all quite jealous of.
Oh, are they going to have picanha? Oh, picanha.
Picanha.
Oh.
That is very, very good.
Yes.
We had a lot of people that were owned cats. And there is a full thread really going on about how much they love Damon in the Vampire Diaries. There's 7 comments on this thread right now.
Perfect.
So thank you to everyone online for being so engaged.
Brilliant.
Were there any mutual connections that you want to shout out?
Anything fun here? Oh.
Nice.
So we have 2 people that speak Japanese, Priska and Beata. Anyone else? Yeah? You buy books.
Do you... Okay, they're very good at buying
I'm
books
with
but
you.
not reading.
Oh my God, how big's your stack? Yeah. Okay, I'm with you. I'm the same here. I think we have one right behind. Yeah? Yes? No, we can say. So I said earlier that I don't do love, but I actually am launching a love event. It's called Date My Mate. It's on the 30th of January in Stockholm. The concept is you get to be a wing person for your single friend and go and help them find love. So we can share some information afterwards. I wasn't planning on pitching that, but yay, here we go. And Sharon will be there. And Sharon will... Don't point at me. Okay.
Now it is time to test your wings. So, you saw us introducing each other and being each other's wing person. Now, as you're already standing up, I want you to, you don't have to stay with the person that you're with. I want you to kind of move around.
Yeah, but don't make it awkward, like, oh, I don't want to talk to you,
No.
right? Like,
We're very respectful here, everyone. And in person, what will they be doing?
So in person, you're going to pair up with the person that you're paired up with, whoever that is. And then again, do what Steph and I did earlier. So who are you? What brings you here? And how can you support this person? So maybe somebody here is looking for a job, or maybe somebody's looking for love. I don't know. We don't do love. We could do love. We're going to do love. Anyway, business love. And then your job is then to do the cross-facilitated introductions for everybody else, right? So throughout the evening when we're networking is also be like, oh, have you met Steph? Oh, Steph's doing this. Oh, you're doing this. Again, we're going to try and get this going throughout the whole night, and this is what you can take forward when you leave this room, okay?
And we will ask a couple of brave people, if they want to, come up on stage and wing the person they've connected with in 30 seconds. So don't worry, you don't have to do a full keynote. But just to put it into practice, we're not going to force anyone that wants to do it. But for those online, I'd like you, I mean, you're already engaging with each other, but maybe do a short intro to yourself and say what you are looking for. But also, as you're online, share your LinkedIn URLs so you can connect with each other. And then by the end of this workshop, or by the end of the workshop today, you're going to have many new connections already. And we all know the broader our network, the better we can facilitate getting more professional opportunities or just enjoying ourselves at work as well.
Or finding Ryan Reynolds.
Or finding Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
So we're going to give you about 8 minutes to keep chatting, moving around, and learning from each other about what you can support them with. Is everything clear?
Perfect.
Yes, we got many thumbs up.
Yay.
I will be sitting down and also reacting to all the online comments.
She
as
has
well.
all the easier job than I am. I'm just standing
Shayna's
here.
going to work the room.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Are ready? Go.
Happy winging. Hello, team. I feel like I have my own small community as well. Okay. Yes, Christine, you've started sharing your LinkedIn URL. Ingrid is the girl with green hair. You know, it's actually one of my like networking tips is to wear something memorable because very often in Sweden and in Scandinavia, people wear monotone, they wear all black or all white or all grey. And then naturally when you're trying to remember who someone is and like the mentality of like who was that person, what were they doing, it's hard to remember when you've interacted with 10 people that have worn all black. So I'm wearing a bright green dress today, and then even if you forget my name or you forget exactly what I do, you can remember there was the lady with the green dress, and she did this, and she said this, or she gave me this tip. And then I sometimes even work it when I'm connecting with people on LinkedIn. I just say hi from the lady in the green dress, and that naturally helps create those pathways in our brains. I have Shaena next to me as well, who's listening in. Here we go. I think there's 2 Antonias as well, so that's already a connection. Shanae works with workshop design and would love to connect. Picanha and Caipirinha. Someone buys boats as well. That is excellent. Isabel is coming in from Barcelona. Actually, I'm very curious. Where are you all tuning in from? I've seen Barcelona, I've seen Brazil, I've seen Gothenburg, I've seen Stockholm, I've seen Malmö. We have a full stack developer, Janine. I also would challenge those of you that are tuning in online, when you click the connection link on LinkedIn, if you see any mutual connections, please write in the chat if you found someone through here and how many mutual connections you are, because you often find some connections that are kind of like crazy or you can't believe. The other day I met this man at a business event, and we connected, and he was an Estonian guy that lived in Iceland, and we had in common a British guy that I was friends with 10 years ago, and the British guy and I worked together in Zambia. So if that's confusing to you, imagine how confused I was when I found out that a friend that I had 10 years ago and I hadn't spoken to in the last 10 years, suddenly this Estonian guy living in Iceland had worked with him previously. So the world is very small, and naturally we had a much more organic conversation through that as well. We have Renata from Malta, Amanda in Stockholm, Bethany tuning in from Germany. We have quite a good spread across. We have Rebecca in London. Rachel is moving to Stockholm. Welcome if you come to Stockholm. I'm based in Malmö now, but I did live in Stockholm for 5 years, so I'm happy to share any tips. And there's a lot of Stockholm people here, so I'm sure you can make lots of new friends in Stockholm. And definitely sign up for the Women in Tech newsletter and the Women in Tech community, because, I mean, I'm biased because I'm part of it, but I think it's one of the best communities you can be part of. Anna works in content strategy, and she's a consultant. So if anyone's looking for anyone, you know where to go. We have Judith, who's a Scrum Master. Antonella, Antonella teaches brand strategy and storytelling. If you have a company and are struggling to explain what you do and why, reach out. I think there's a lot of companies that, I mean, as humans, we always understand and believe in something a lot more when we know the story behind it. Don't just know the facts, but like connect it together. Sevi speaks English, Greek, and Swedish, and is based in Gothenburg. I love this. Christine is currently looking for a job as project manager, product owner, or problem solver. I'm giving you all shout-outs to make sure that you never know who's hiring. Gitta is on a career change. Ooh, from social cultural anthropology into tech. Now, I think there's going to be so many transferable skills from there that we don't automatically assume, but like being very analytical, learning to kind of study and observe from like take a step back. I used to work in market research myself, and I think that kind of observation really helps me as a public speaker now, because I can read the room, I can work out, okay, what tendencies are people showing, I can read behavior a bit more, so I know when I need to be very energetic and when I can be calm and reading the comments. Sumaya, I hope I pronounced that correctly, works at Scania as a Scrum Master and developer. We have Asha, who works as a data product owner and is passionate about data, AI, and product management. Perfect. We have 30 seconds left, so post any more links that you have. Thank you, Sumaya. I said it correctly. I'm very glad to do that. And add any other comments if there's anything you are missing. And don't worry, I will be sharing my LinkedIn connection at the end of this talk, so I hope all of you will connect with me after as well. And Shaena. Ingrid is from Brazil and been living in Stockholm for 4 years and 6 days. It's like you've been counting. And we are now coming back. Let's see if this hand works. Welcome back, everybody. Woo!
I'm going like, nothing. I'm good. I'm great. How is everybody doing? All right. We're back. So actually, before we showcase wings, I'm curious, like, how scary was this activity? Like, was it nice to have someone else to chat to? And, I don't even know how to go like this, like scary. Never mind. That's a weird way to measure things.
You all seem quite far away as well, so come a bit further forward, please. I see a hand up, yes.
Oh, we can't hear a thing. Do you want to showcase your wings? Come on up.
I love we don't even have to ask. We've got people running up. Okay, we have 2 people that are going to showcase their wings, which I'm very excited for. So you're each going to get a mic. Come up on stage.
Yeah, come on up.
Welcome them up on stage.
Welcome. Don't step on the stage.
Brave people.
All right.
So first, I'll just make sure you can get into the right frame. So I'll stand this side for you. So you are Razan, yes, and Zaya. Zia. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Do you want to just do
wing
your
it?
thing? Just want to wing it? Yeah. Yeah? Fly away.
Well, we haven't really synced on this.
It's on. It's on.
All right. So Razan is a software engineer at Volvo Cars. She has done amazing work in a software engineer, but she is also looking to stretch her muscles. She want to get into leadership management roles and people leading roles. And anyone here that can coach her, mentor her, and to help her identify the gaps for her to move to the next stage would be so recognized and so appreciated, because her manager is not doing the proper work.
Oh.
And it's a man.
All right, so
amazing.
Well done. Based on that, is there anyone here that happens to be a mentor or coach, or feel like we got some hands up? We got fantastic. We've got Alexis in the back. We've got leaders here. Okay.
Registering the names.
So
look at the faces. Register them.
Yeah, register these faces. You guys know you're going to come find her afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. You ready?
Yeah. So Zia here is a head of strategy at Cisco, and worked with clients like McKinsey. Before McKinsey. And now she's looking into more opportunity to give her knowledge to more people. Like, she's been working with internally at the company, but now she wants also to look for startups to advise, basically, and help them to grow from 0 to the star. I don't know. But yeah, so not specific industry, but maybe something in tech, fintech, also health tech. So reach out to her. She's going to be an amazing advisor for you.
Perfect. Anyone here that can help with that? Maybe?
Anyone has a startup or is a startup
or
advisor?
might know someone that's not in the room. We have one there. But even if you're not in the room, you might know someone who knows someone, right? 6 degrees.
That was incredible.
Yeah, well done.
I need to... Thank you so much.
Perfect.
And
thank you.
Thank you very much. And now you know who to go to. Do we have any other brave people that want to come up? Yes? You're 3.
Come on up. Again, it doesn't have to be 2 people. It can
have
be
to
more
be.
than one, right?
Give them a round of applause to come up.
Yay!
And in the meantime, on the online chat, we had people that are looking for internships. We had people who are looking for interns. We had some product owners.
We hope
looking
you're
for
all
new
connecting
roles.
online.
So,
right?
there were so many LinkedIn
Good.
URLs
Good.
sent. Welcome.
There are 3 of you.
Yes.
I only see 2.
Yes, because we ended up just being 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic.
That's fine.
Go for it.
Okay, so I will present
Okay.
Priska, this amazing lady works in fintech, but sadly there have been laid off in her company. So this Friday will be her last day at work. So she's looking for new opportunities.
Right. It's not that sad, actually, because I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity to pivot. And I got a feeling that many here have pivoted.
Hands up who has pivoted in their career. At least
Right.
once.
I feel such a good company. So what I actually am looking for is to hear your pivoting story, things that you didn't know then that you learn afterwards.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
That's essentially
Perfect.
that. And here we have Gabby. Please move forward, Gabby. Gabby is Argentinian, and she lives in Sweden since a few years back. She's a journalist and also a game enthusiast, and she works within games. And she also does research about how violence in teenagers when they game can be manifested online, and that is not just a problem in a specific country, but it's a demographic problem. And she's very interested in developing that. And she's also left her job quite recently. So she is now, well, she left her job because managers, and toxic places, and she was not doing good there. So she's going to do better now outside of that company, and she's looking to work or to amplify her space as a speaker. And she does speak in matters about tech, matters about women, matters about women in tech, and of course the violence online between teenagers. So she's looking for somebody here that can help her get more speaking jobs, and with the fine print being paid speaking jobs, because we don't work for
Isn't
free.
it yesterday the day that we all work for free for the next?
No, I think that was November.
Was it
October.
no?
It was
Okay.
a long time
So
ago.
we're done working for free.
We're done
and
working
so
for free,
is
right?
Gabby. So if you have any tips on how to get her more speaking jobs, yeah, here she
Good.
is.
Fantastic. Well done. Thank you two. Listen, I will say, and this is a really good example of this, you two, is like if, for example, you're introducing someone and you don't know the entire story, the other person can still chime in. It's not like you have to stand there and wait for them to say something. Like maybe you'll forget. I mean, you've memorized. I don't know how long you guys have been rehearsing that. That wasn't rehearsed. But, yeah, 3 years. Oh. But you know what I mean? You can come in and you can be like, oh, yeah, and Steph, yeah, she's from, what city are you from again? You know what I mean? Like you can do.
Okay, it's like London.
I've done that
She's
before.
so convincing. It's
At a party, I did that once. I'm like, have you ever been to London? And then she's like, Shaena, do you know where I'm from? I'm like, she's like, London. I'm like, we've been friends for years. How do you not know this?
We knew each other
Anyway.
for about 3 or 4 years at this point.
Anyway, thank you too.
Thank you so much. And this is just an ad lib, but I just thought as well, it's a very common thing, especially for females, to be asked to speak for free. I personally get asked a lot to speak for free. So do you. I mean, generally, I don't want to speak for free because there's a lot of prep work. There's a lot of time. If you pay your caterers, then you should be paying your speakers. But one way around it, because I know we end up, a lot of women especially feel like, but I can't get in the door if I don't get on the stage. And then sometimes the only way to get on stage is to do unpaid. I have done unpaid before. I'm not going to pretend that I haven't. But one way that you can kind of, especially if it's like a charity or a non-profit, and if they come and they say, look, we don't have a huge budget, just ask for something. Even if it's like, I've done before like a gift card. It was like, I think they gave me a gift card of like 1,000 SEK. You know, that's not a huge amount, but it's just give me something to show that you're valuing my time and you're not expecting me to just work for free. So that's a tip I want to give to you, that don't work for free because we also want to change it. But if you feel in a position where you want to help someone out, at least ask for something. There's always something that they can offer. Maybe they can expense a hotel or whatever it may be. There's some tips.
Brilliant. All right. Oh, we have a hand up over here. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I think you will be able to see because all the comments are live. So everyone that's been writing things online, that will be on the video afterwards as well. So I'm pretty sure in the email that will be sent out after could have the link. Yes, I'm getting the thumbs up. I have. Oh, here we go. I haven't asked for all that can't mingle today. If you have any thoughts of how we can elevate the Women in Tech membership experience, please reach out to me. That is Amalia. You're doing a great job wherever you are.
She's over there. I see her
There
hand.
she is. I see her. There's so many comments here as well. So yes, you will get access to it. Does anyone have any reflections on the wing person exercise?
Silence.
None. You're just enjoying flying so much, right?
Oh, wait, we
Okay,
have one.
one. Yeah.
Good. So we'll just repeat that back for those that didn't hear that. You find it a lot easier to be able to have a task, to be able to get to know people and walk around versus just not, right?
And thankfully, you actually just gave us the perfect segue to the next slide. Well, firstly, congratulations. You're all wing people.
Well done, well done.
You have your wings. And as you just said, it's so much easier to make a connection to... I said as well, I said to the people online, so I'll say to people here as well, when you find something in common that you have, even if it's speaking about the Vampire Diaries, suddenly this whole professional facade drops from your face and your body language, and you just become two humans connecting. Exactly. And then you can speak about work. But if I automatically come here and I say, I'm Steph and I work in events, my whole cadence of speaking has changed, my body language has changed, you become a lot stiffer. So that's why we encourage to do the wing person thing, laugh, be a human. And when it comes to having a tool of what you can do, we're going to part you with a game that we recommend that you can play, because right now people here, you're going to have 45 minutes of networking. People online, I'll stay online for like a couple of minutes just to carry on reading the messages. But the LinkedIn game, Shaena,
yes.
You are the creator of it. How
Good.
does it work? And who has already played it?
Oh, yay, fantastic.
We have about 30 hands up.
Okay, so just to give a little bit of a backstory, a bunch of years ago, I went to a really boring event that had no coffee and no liquid courage. Ooh. And I walked in this room, and again, I had a commercial background, so I was there for sales. I'm like, I'm going to book meetings, da-da-da-da. But when there's no lubricant to get people talking, and I'm so sorry, people just tend to stand there. So I don't know what possessed me, but I came in and I said, do you want to play a game? And this person said, sure. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh, well, we just need to guess the mutual connections we have on LinkedIn. Whoever gets closest wins. The other person buys them a lunch or a fika or a dinner, whatever our price point, you don't have to wager anything. It's a fun game no matter what, right? And so you basically meet somebody and then you go, okay, so we're going to guess. Usually you start with an icebreaker question. So for example, I don't know, what was the last role and industry that you were in? You can come up with absolutely anything. They'll ask a question in return, and then one of you should write your number down, because I was playing this just a moment ago, right? Because if you say your number, if you're 12, I'd be 13. So one of you write your number down to sort of lock it in, look each other up, see who it is, how many numbers you have, and who wins. So I just won a fika. Woohoo! And we had, 52 mutual connections? But we haven't gone through that list. So when you start to look at who do you both know, it gets really fascinating. Because then you're like, oh, we both know, and we didn't look through our list. So we both know X. Oh, I used to work with X. Oh, I used to date X. I don't know.
I know, there's a theme.
I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, that's the whole idea of the game. So this is going to be an activity for those of us in the room. For those of you at home, you can take this away. This is what I use for every event that I go to around the world. And I think it's really important here. We say write a personalized message so you can follow up with people afterwards.
And if you don't know how to find your QR code, that's why I've created some screenshots here so you can see how to find it. One hack that someone else showed it to me and I copied it and ran fast with it is a networking hack. One way to play this game so much easier and to connect with people so much easier is having a screensaver like this. Whenever I go to an event, I just have this as my screensaver. Then when someone says, who are you? Also, it's very hard to hear words or names or how do you spell Stephanie Darvill? So it's also easy to just show because visually people will see it. But that QR code on my phone there, that scans to my LinkedIn profile. Now, we have also made a template for this that you can scan this QR code and use the template. Steal it, take it for free. It's our present for you. But we will show this later on and ask us if you can't see the QR code at all. So if there's anything we wanted, any parting suggestion for you?
I think, right, if you want to build more authentic connections, what do you need to do? Connect with us. Easy.
And I will just encourage you to keep connecting. You have another 45 minutes left, and
there's
enjoy
liquid
yourselves.
courage. I believe there's liquid courage.
There is liquid courage. We're going to invite Eleanor back to stage with us. And the people that did wing, the 4 of you that did come back and come up to stage and showcase your wings, please come to this stage after, because we are going to give you, as Linda is showing us, you have won a Women in Tech cap as a prize for being brave and getting on stage. So please come here and we'll give it to you.
Yay.
And welcome back to stage, Eleanor.
Thank you so much. So we will wrap this up because I can see that everyone here is raring to continue chatting with all their newfound connections. So we're absolutely not going to stop that any longer. So that leaves me to say thank you so much for all being here online and in the office today. It's been such a great atmosphere for all of us. And I hope you've found the inspiring speakers and the networking session we've had just as interesting and with as many useful takeaways as I have. It's been really great. Thank you all so much for coming out on this dark evening and joining us, and have a great evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I honestly think this is the most active chat I've ever had on any event. So thank you to everyone online, because I've never had to get through 136 messages before whilst doing this live moderation. Thank you all. See you soon.
Now go play the game.